All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We've got a really fascinating journey ahead of us today. We're exploring a diptych of tales, two incredibly gripping stories straight from village lore, and they both share this deep universal truth. We're going to look at what happens when the preparation of food, something so essential, so nourishing, literally becomes a battleground between pure, selfless love and dark, corrupting greed. It's a wild ride that's going to take us from miraculous rewards all the way to downright criminal conspiracies. So think about this. What actually happens when toxic greed enters the kitchen? We all know cooking is often called an act of love, right? But in the stories we're unpacking today, we see exactly what unfolds when the motivation behind a meal shifts from, say, feeding the hungry to a cold obsession with maximum profit. And spoiler alert, it involves magical twists, spectacular downfalls, and even a full-blown undercover sting operation. Let's get into it. Section 1. The Price of Greed. Okay, picture this. We are transported to the bustling, noisy market of Ratanpur village right in the early morning light. The air is just thick with the smell of smoke from clay ovens. Vendors are shouting, you know the vibe. Now, meet Gopal. He's a poor vendor frying up hot aloo parathas on this small, incredibly clean little cart. The guy barely makes enough to buy school supplies for his son, but when a starving old man begs for food, Gopal doesn't hesitate. He feeds him his absolute best paratha totally for free. But then you have his rival, Bola. Bola runs a massive shop right next door. And Bola? He openly mocks Gopal's charity. He literally tells him a business isn't a charity house. Bola is driven by one thing and one thing only: cold, calculating greed. Section 2. Gopal's Magical Parathas. So one afternoon, the sky suddenly turns pitch black and this violent storm just batters the market. Amidst all this chaos, a shivering, disguised holy man, a sadhu, shows up asking for food. Now, Gopal only has enough dough and potatoes left for his own family's dinner, that's it. But he simply cannot turn away a hungry guest. He actually feeds the sadhu his family's very last meal. And in return, the sadhu gifts him this mysterious old wooden spice box. The magic here is insane. Just one tiny pinch of the spice makes Gopal's parathas smell like absolute heaven. And, miraculously, his ingredients never run out. It's like a bottomless pantry. Overnight, he becomes the most popular vendor in the entire village. But wait, there is a catch. There's always a catch, right? The magic comes with a specific, absolutely crucial condition. The sadhu explicitly warns Gopal, saying, use its power only on the path of honesty. If you are greedy, its power will be destroyed. So the magic is directly tied to the user's moral compass. Now, Gopal handles this perfectly. He uses his newfound wealth to open a free kitchen for the poor. But this specific rule completely foreshadows the absolute disaster that is about to unfold next door. Section 3. Bola's Bitter Lesson. With Gopal's cart seeing these massive winding lines, Bola's giant shop has basically become a ghost town. And Bola is seething. Convinced Gopal is using some sort of dark trick, Bola is just consumed by toxic jealousy. So in the dead of night, he sneaks into Gopal's shop and steals that magical wooden box. His goal is simple: out-earn Gopal and become the richest man in the village. But his arrogance completely blinds him. He figures, hey, if Gopal used a tiny pinch to get rich, I can outsmart the magic by using a whole handful of the spice. He dumps it right into his potato filling, thinking it will make it 10 times better. While what follows is a spectacular downfall. The exact moment Bola drops those parathas into the hot oil, they instantly turn pitch black, like literal charcoal. A foul, absolutely sickening stench violently fills the air. All those customers he lured in, they flee in absolute disgust. And then a booming voice from the sky, the voice of the sadhu, declares that the reward of honesty can never remain in the hands of the greedy. Bola literally spoiled his own success through sheer gluttony. Talk about instant karma. Okay, so that's a beautiful fable. We love a good magical morality tale, but what happens when the magic isn't a blessing at all, but a real-world crime? This is where things take a super fascinating pivot. We are moving from magical realism right into a grounded, totally criminal reality for our second story. Section 4. Kamala's Famous Tadka. Welcome to Chandanagar Village. Now, this place is famous for one thing: Kamala Pishi's hotel and her incredible tadka, this really rich, flavorful dish of tempered spices and lentils. But behind the scenes, the power dynamic is a complete recipe for disaster.
See, the actual mastermind behind the famous dish is a guy named Hari. He is incredibly hardworking but deeply underpaid, like barely able to feed his family underpaid. And his boss, the hotel owner, Kamala Pishi, she's arrogant, she's stingy, and she constantly verbally abuses him. So when Hari politely asks for a long-promised raise, what does Kamala do? She refuses, insults him, accuses him of teaming up with her rivals, and angrily fires him right on the spot.
And man, pride really does come before a fall. Let's look at the timeline here. Day 1. Hari gets fired and immediately lands a job at a rival hotel owned by a super kind guy named Mahesh. By week 1, Kamal has hired a new cook, but he just can't replicate Hari's magic. The village headman actually spits out the new, tasteless food and publicly scolds Kamala for ruining her reputation. By week 2, Kamala's once famous hotel is basically empty. It's on the verge of total closure. Meanwhile, Mahesh's hotel, it is absolutely booming, all thanks to Hari's honest hard work. Section 5. The secret tainted ingredient. So Kamala is desperate. She is facing total financial ruin. And this is where her daughter-in-law, Shika, steps in with a desperate and highly illegal solution. Listen to Shika's exact words here. This is an intoxicating chemical medicine. Eating this will make the customer think only about our todka. Pulling out the shady vial she got from the city, Shika explicitly states this isn't some traditional natural herb like Bang. No, it is a powerful chemical narcotic. They literally decide to spike the todka to chemically addict their customers to the food. Kamala, driven by just pure blinding greed, actually says she only cares about the money, not the law. And the scary secret to this chemical? 24 hours. Shika explains that just a few drops of this stuff will keep a customer absolutely obsessed and hooked on their todka for exactly 24 hours. And crazy enough, it works. Kamala's hotel gets instantly flooded with these essentially mind-controlled customers, while Mahesh's honest hotel empties out completely. It's wild.
But, as we know, the universe has a way of balancing the scales, and it triggers an undercover sting operation. A hungry sadhu arrives in town. Sounds familiar, right? He first goes over to Mahesh's empty hotel, where the ever-honest Hari happily feeds him a great meal for free, earning the sadhu's blessing. Then, the sadhu wanders over to Kamala's jam-packed hotel. Kamala, being Kamala, rudely demands his money up front. The sadhu just smiles, pays her, takes one single bite of her famous spiked todka, and immediately spits it out in utter disgust. And boom, this brings us to one of the greatest reveals. The sadhu just wipes away his disguise, literally rips off his fake beard and mustache, looks right dead at Kamala, and declares, "I am CBI Inspector Abhijit. We had news that drugs were being supplied in this village." He tasted the chemical the second it hit his tongue. There was no magic here at all. It was a straight-up criminal drug ring. And the best part? Kamala charged the very man who was there to take her down. Absolutely incredible.
Section 6. The true flavor of honesty.
So, whether we're dealing with a magical, bottomless spice box or a real-world village drug bust, the final outcome for everyone involved is powerfully consistent. Let's look at where they all end up. Gopal, our honest paratha maker, he finds his magical box mysteriously returned to him, right alongside a heavy bag of gold coins. Meanwhile, the greedy Bola is left with nothing but a completely ruined business. Over in Chandanagar, Kamala and Shika are literally dragged away by the CBI to spend their lives in jail. And honest Hari and his new boss Mahesh, they see their business prosper wonderfully, all built on a foundation of genuine hard work.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. Are there any true shortcuts to success? Or is honesty literally the only secret ingredient that actually lasts? Whether you're dealing with divine magic testing your soul or the real-world authorities testing your legality, these stories are such a brilliant reminder. Greed always burns itself out, while honest work keeps the fire going. Definitely something to think about the next time you step into the kitchen or, your workplace. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.